Thank you all for joining us this afternoon. Let me start by saying this. I do not take this executive action lightly. I would have preferred to work in a more collaborative approach. I would have preferred to do the work with our allies in City Council to pass legislation ultimately. And we were doing that. We're doing just that. But some of the leaders who we are working with are standing behind me today. But unfortunately, we do not have the luxury of time. We have received credible reports that we have days, not weeks, before our city sees some type of militarized activity by the federal government. It is unclear at this time what that will look like exactly. We may see militarized immigration enforcement. We may also see National Guard troops. We may even see active duty military and armed vehicles in our streets. We have not called for this. Our people have not asked for this. But nevertheless, we find ourselves having to respond to this. Let me be absolutely clear. Although we believe the reports we have received are highly credible, this is an erratic, impulsive administration, and it is not always possible to understand and know exactly how he will move. He could change his mind, he could reverse course. In fact, I'm encouraging him to do that. Still, we take these threats seriously, and we find ourselves in a position where we must take immediate, drastic action to protect our people from federal overreach. I'm signing an executive order today that will launch the Protecting Chicago initiative. This is a project that builds on the months of preparation that we have done, that has led up to this very moment. Protecting Chicago will ensure that every Chicagoan knows their rights, that every single family is prepared, and every part of city government is directed to protect the people of Chicago from federal action. This sweeping executive order directs our Department of Law to pursue any and every legal mechanism to hold this administration accountable for violating the rights of Chicagoans. This order affirms that the Chicago Police Department will not collaborate with military personnel on police patrols or civil immigration enforcement. We will not have our police officers, who are working hard every single day to drive down crime, deputized to do traffic stops and checkpoints for the president. This order affirms the CPD officers will be directed to wear CPD uniforms and refrain from wearing masks so that residents can clearly distinguish them from federal agents. And finally, as I said, it establishes the Protecting Chicago initiative, the most sweeping campaign of any city in the country to protect ourselves from the threats and actions of this out-of-control administration. We will protect our Constitution, we will protect our city, and we will protect our people. We do not want to see tanks in our streets. We do not want to see families ripped apart. We do not want grandmothers thrown into the back of unmarked vans. We don't want to see homeless Chicagoans harassed or disappeared by federal agents. We don't want to see Chicagoans arrested for sitting on their porch. It's not who we are as a city. And that's not who we are as a nation. My team and I have spoken with the governor, the county president, and with our federal delegation, and we are in complete alignment. The time for action is now. With that, I'll sign this executive order and return for following questions.
All right, there we go. I don't know what happened, you guys. I don't know if it was a copyright thing, but last video was cut off. But in the last video, I'm Donovan Sadiq, as you guys know. Good afternoon. It is 15:02 hours, August 30th, 2025. So that means 3 p.m. afternoon on a Saturday. I got my old military pickles on. It's a little tight because I'm a little bigger than I was. I was a very, very small and skinny man. But this was the best uniform the military ever had. You could cut the sleeves off. You could blouse your pants if you need to. Long sleeve, roll the sleeves up, however you wanted to do it. There are so many combinations that you could use with this. But it's a little tight up here because I got a bigger chest now. But I was a SAC warrior. Hold on, I think it's on this side. And I was a journeyman crew chief. And, there's it right here, there. I was a SAC warrior. You could wear core frame shoes with these if you're working in the office that day. And this was a great one. Of course, I've got my Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University shirt on. Just been chilling in the house all day. I've been kind of... I took this medicine yesterday or Thursday, and it messed me up for like a day and a half. So I was pretty much out of it Friday, yesterday, just resting, and seems to wore off. So my body's got to get used to some of these new things that they're giving me. So it makes me messed up. And I know some of you guys are like, oh my God, yes, he's gone, thank God. But I'm back. So anyway, you guys, that video today, this morning, I woke up and Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson, he has issued an executive order that gives the police, tells the Chicago PD not to cooperate with the federal government, to wear their uniforms, right? So they can't be deputized. You guys, the President of the United States cannot deputize local police. Can't deputize state police. He has no jurisdiction other than the federal government. Now, I want you guys to go back and look at the title of these two videos. I named them to keep the people in fear, and they will give away their rights. What is Brandon Johnson doing right now? If you saw the video, in the video, he was saying how armed tanks are going to come and all this fear mongering that he's doing. There are no tanks here in LA. There are no tanks here in LA. The National Guard troops that are still here in LA are guarding federal buildings. But the Democrats want to keep you in fear, right? Even though you, the citizens, you're like, yeah, I think it's a good idea. Trump comes in. Look what he did in Washington, D.C. By the way, in Washington, D.C., there were no tanks used in Washington, D.C. There were no helicopters used. There was no airplanes used. Fear-mongering. The Communist Manifesto talks about this. If you keep the people in fear, they will willingly give up their rights. Willingly. No problem. That's what Brandon Johnson's doing. He said that he's going to sign an executive order that is going to not deputize things, which the federal government can't do. The police are not going to help federal agencies, right? This is stuff that he's saying that he's going to do. And he says that he couldn't do it with his city council. Wow, you have a city council that's supposed to put you in check. And you're saying that Donald Trump, and fuck Trump, I'm not a Trump supporter, but you're saying Donald Trump is a dictator, but you're using the exact same tactics of executive orders that Donald Trump is using, and you are going around your city council by issuing an executive order. But here's the problem with the executive order. Isn't Chicago a sanctuary city? And as a sanctuary city, they're not supposed to cooperate with the federal government. Isn't that the rules of being a sanctuary city? But do you see the political theater that is going on? It's constant theater. Are you entertained? Are you entertained by all of this? But see, most of you guys get your information on YouTube and social media like this. But like I always say, don't just listen to what I say. Don't just listen to it. Research what I'm saying. Does it make sense that this man is going to write an executive order that does the exact same thing that the rules of a sanctuary city already does? Are you entertained? Do you guys love this stuff? They count on you to not use your basic logic. If Chicago and other sanctuary cities are sanctuary cities, those of us that have heard of sanctuary cities, we understand that their law enforcement is not supposed to help federal agencies enforcing federal law. And I don't know much about sanctuary cities other than that. They are not supposed to cooperate with the federal government in regards to federal law. So basically, sanctuary cities are saying, hey, you're the federal government, you figure it out. We've got things we got to do. So he's signing an executive order that does the exact same stuff. But ask yourself, why is Brandon Johnson doing this? Why is he doing this? Isn't Chicago facing a $1.6 billion deficit like a lot of these sanctuary cities are facing deficits? Half of the $1.6 billion deficit is because of the migrant crisis and putting migrants, illegal migrants, above citizens. This kind of reminds me of the Reichstag fire in Germany when Hitler took over absolute power in the parliament of Germany, that basically gave him emergency dictatorial powers. Isn't this what Brandon Johnson's doing? My man Octavius, no, Grandpa Octavius, Gramps Octavius. Well, what are the grandkids calling you? What are the kids calling you out there now? He says, my guy, love your work. Keep it up, my brother. Brother, look, at our age, it's too expensive to go out. I'm divorced twice, so, you know, the women are too expensive. I can't do that. So rather than sit and watch sports all day, why not get out here and just rant and rave, because nobody else wants to listen to my to my stuff, right? So just how are those grandbabies, man? Like I said, I don't have any that I know of. And I can't wait. I heard it's a good thing, man. It gives you a second life. You know, you're like, okay, this is what I heard. You know, because we're not there's no perfect parent, but I'm sure there are some things we've done, you know, with our children that we see in our grandchildren that we don't want to do those things and try it a different way. So, you know, get that extra energy in, brother, because you're gonna need it, because you got twins, a boy and a girl, and that girl's gonna give you hell. Oh yeah, you better believe that girl's gonna give you hell. Not right now, but that girl is gonna take care of Grandpa, without a doubt. But when those teenage years kick in, you got your hair now, brother, but get ready. You're gonna be coming into the club. All right, you're gonna come into the club. All right. So back to what I was saying. Why all of a sudden is Brandon Johnson doing this? He's facing a $1.6 billion deficit. He ran to be mayor that he wouldn't raise property taxes. He tried to get a payday loan of $800 million to help the budget crisis that would cost Chicago $2 billion 20 years from now. Basically a payday type loan. He's going to borrow $800 million to pay back $2 billion in 20 years, over a 20-year time span. How many of you guys know that? I live in California. Remember I told you guys, I eat this shit up. It's fascinating. It's just fascinating to me. So, what do you do when you are facing that type of a budget deficit and you still want to hold on to your seat and be a hardcore Democrat and you want to distract the people? You keep them in fear. You fearmonger them. Oh, there's going to be tanks. Please, somebody tell me, where has there been tanks in, Donald Trump has used tanks in American cities? No, Octavius, look, I know you're laughing, but that's equivalent to what he was trying to do. He was trying to do a payday loan. You're going to borrow $800 million now to give the loan company $2 billion over a 20-year period? That's double what you borrowed, plus some. Right? Hey, Dr. Anita. I'm going to say doctor because you're working on your doctorates. Anita, I'm not even going to say that. Alajawamake. I don't know how to say that. My tongue, I can't do it. Howard. Teacher Howard. Professor Howard. I'm going to call you Professor Howard. But it was a payday loan, Octavius. It was basically a payday loan. Who would agree to those type of terms, to put that on the taxpayer for something that could have been avoided if you had not tried to support people that should not have been here? Why does the American taxpayer have to pay that? That was ultimately rejected. This man is desperate right now. He is desperate because of this deficit shortfall. And you look at a lot of Democrat-run cities that tried to move in these migrants, they are at a deficit. They put illegal migrants over their own citizens. And now it's time to pay the piper. It's going to come down to this. Either you're going to have to raise the taxes, which means your career is over, or you're going to have to cut jobs. Right here in LA, we have over $1 billion deficit because we are a sanctuary. Well, I don't live in LA, but they're a sanctuary city. I have several friends that used to work for the city of Los Angeles, and they're hardcore liberal Democrats. Black women lost their jobs. They will not be working next year, in the next fiscal year, for Los Angeles, the city of Los Angeles. And I tried to tell them this. What they're advocating for cost them their job. Oh, there's nothing wrong with the illegal migrants and all this other stuff like that. You are putting illegal migrants over your own family. Now you've lost your job. And a lot of these women, black women, I don't need no man. I got my own house. Girl, I just bought a house. Oh, I got my new BMW I'm riding in. Girl, whatever that. Notice, black women are the first to tell you how educated they are and what they got. None of it's paid for. You got the median income of a house in California is $800,000. So let's just do the math. You ain't got no man, so you ain't got nobody doing the maintenance. You got this house that isn't paid for. You just lost your job. It doesn't even matter if you were making six figures. You lost your job. Somebody who's making six figures at a job and another person who's making $30,000 at the job just both lost their jobs. What's the difference? They're both making zero, right? So this woman, these women, friends of mine, who advocated for illegal immigration, have put their lives and their families' lives on the ground for illegal immigrants who don't give a shit about them anyway. How you gonna pay that mortgage now, sis? And by the way, the mortgages ain't cheap. Now remember, a lot of these women, they don't live in LA. They commute into LA to their jobs. So the average mortgage, I would say, on the low end, you're looking at least $3,500, $3,000 to $3,500 a month. Add in your car payment, $650, $500 to $650, depending what kind of car you got. But you know, everybody wants the highball, right? These women now, just in their car and their house, you're looking at least $5,000, right? Now you ain't got no job. I can't tell you how many of my friends that have lost their jobs in the city have called me and asked me what to do. Do I know, anything in the Inland Empire that, could help them do this, do this, do that, do this. They put their family livelihood at risk for illegal immigrants, and I tried to tell them, you lost your job. It wasn't because you weren't a good worker. You lost your job because you supported illegal immigration. It cost you. The immigrants didn't lose anything. The worst that's going to happen to them is they're going to go back to casa in Mexico or wherever they're from. So Anita says, pronounce Ola Jumoke. Oh, Ola Jumoke. Okay, Ola Jumoke. I can say that. Like, what's that basketball player? I forgot her name, but she used to play for the Sparks. Ola Jumoke. Got it. I got to write that down. You know what? Text that to me. Text it to me. Octavius says, you live everywhere, bro. No, well, actually, my home base is the Inland Empire. I know I travel a lot, but here in the Dominican Republic is my second home. So, Anita says, you're right about that. Renting and having a mortgage payment is next on their necks. Yeah. They're neck and neck. Exactly. And this is going to, and so guess what's going to happen? They're going to lose that home. They have just basically put their family into homelessness for people who wouldn't piss on them if they were on fire. Now they're like, oh Lord, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? They have just now faced homelessness. And we tried to tell them. We tried. Oh, Trump is this, Trump is that. What has Donald Trump done to you personally? What has he done to you personally? Not a damn thing. Nothing. The man doesn't even know you. I mean, these women are in panic mode. They have no second income because remember, Octavius, remember, Anita, they don't need no man. I don't need no man. I can do it on my own. I don't need nobody. Here's the problem. I did some research on that jobs report where 300,000 black women, specifically black women, lost their jobs as Donald Trump is cutting the federal government. Number one, notice the Democratic Party is doing nothing about it. Notice that. Even if the Democrats get back in power, do you think they're going to give those black women their jobs back? It ain't going to happen. Remember when Reagan in the 80s cut all those benefits for people that were on, Section 8 and welfare? Remember the government cheese? He got rid of that. I think they ran out of cheese. But the point is, when Bill Clinton came into power, did he restore anything that Reagan cut that benefited lower class people? Didn't do it. Joe Biden, even Bill Clinton admitted the 1994 crime bill was a mistake. Did Joe Biden repeal it? Did the Democratic-held Congress, did they repeal the 1994 crime bill? Even though black it took the black vote to get Joe Biden into office? Did Obama do it? I'm just trying to tell you guys that are hardcore Democrats. I know you're born and bred to be. I'm a Democrat. I was born and bred to be a Democrat, but I have to use my basic logic. The Republicans ain't no better, but we don't need to talk about the Republicans because we don't give 94% of our vote to one party. We don't give any. We don't give our votes to them. We're starting to teach the Democrats a lesson. We're trying to tell you guys, wake up. I'm not telling you to be a Republican. I'm telling you to vote what is in your best interest. And to support illegal immigration is not in your best interest as a black person. Anita says, as they should be. Nope and nope. Yep. In this economic capitalist system, this American nightmare, the capitalist system here in America is built on black people being at the bottom. Have you ever wondered, why is it that other groups could come here and within 5 or 6 years, they're doing better than we are? They take our culture, they take everything that they can from us, and they move into our neighborhoods when they first get here, and they quickly move out and try to be white adjacent. Have you ever wondered, why is it that that is happening? Because this system is built to keep black people at the bottom. When I say black people, I'm not talking about Africans. I'm not talking about Jamaicans. I'm not talking about Dominicans, Puerto Ricans. I'm talking about FBA black Americans that have been here since the beginning. And I know you guys got to understand this about the world. No matter what continent you go on in this earth, dark people were there first. Okay? So let's just get that debate out of here. We know there are some Indian tribes that are dark. Okay? We already know that. So let's just throw that out the window. Black people have been here since the beginning. Every continent, you will find an original dark people. You got some ignorant people say, well, only in Africa, the first. Yeah, we know the first SC, whatever name, was in Africa. But do you guys see? We got to get our schooling back. Black people, start reading. Stop just listening. Go and research what I'm saying. Before the continents separated, they were all together. So let's use our deductive reasoning. If all the continents was one mass, and the first mammal, black humanoid, Essie, was created and started to give life of the human species on the earth, right? Then those continents, because of the plates, started breaking up and drifting away from each other. There's some black people over here. Now there's some black people over here. Now there's some black people over here, and over and over and over. Black people, we're it. How do you explain Aboriginal people in Australia? Way over there. How do you explain that? Because the continents were all together. Then they broke up. And the people that were on the solid continent got stuck on those continents that drifted away. Anita says, say that again for the people in the back. Pangaea, right. So I'm not telling you to be a Republican. I'm telling you just to use your simple logic. Please start using your simple logic. If voting Republican is best for you and your family, please do that. If you think voting Democrats is good for you, then continue to do that. If you're making money and you're part of the boule, and that's where you get your white envelope, continue to do that. Continue to do that. But don't take advantage of people who vote against their own interests. That's almost like having a hostage and, the person is confused and then you're telling them to pull the trigger. and the person doesn't know any better. I believe you have an obligation to tell the truth or put the truth out there so that person can make a logical decision for themselves. So the Communist Manifesto, Demetra and I, we talk about it all the time. If you haven't read that book, go read it. Karl Marx and Frederick Engels. You keep the people in fear, they will give away their rights. When 9/11 happened, what happened during 9/11? What happened? The Patriot Act. That's still in effect today. The government, against the Constitution, because the Congress unanimously voted for it. I think Barbara Lee was the only one that didn't. No, that was the authorization of war. Congress unanimously voted for the Patriot Act without even reading it. None of them read it. It was a think tank item that had been sitting there for years. Both Democrat and Republicans voted for it. Are you entertained? I keep telling you guys, these are the same people. Both parties voted for it. In the Constitution, the government cannot go into your home without a warrant. Unreasonable search and seizure. The Patriot Act overrides that. You could be at work right now, and if the government wants to go into your home, they can do so. It was supposed to be a temporary thing. 9/11 happened, what, 17 years, 22 years ago? 21 years ago? 24 years ago? Math is off. It's still being used. I know about it. You guys heard about the Patriot Act. How come we're not screaming to get that repealed? The same reason we're not screaming to get the 1994 crime bill repealed. Because we don't give a damn. We're too busy trying to make a living raising these damn kids and all this other stuff. Most other Western democracies, like in France, when they don't like something, they tie up the interstate. They completely bring the country to a standstill. What do? Oh well, we yell and scream. Then we go back and pay it. You know, it's like when they give you a ticket, traffic ticket, and rather than go and fight it, you just rather pay it, and they know that. That's why it's been proven that a lot of cities do intentionally make their officers go out and write tickets so that it could increase the shortfall in the city budget. That's how these small cities do that. And that was called out. But you keep the people in fear. 9/11, look how quickly people just said, yeah, go ahead and take my right to unreasonable search and seizure. No pushback whatsoever. This is what Brandon Johnson is using now. He is using fear-mongering tactics for the people of Chicago. Oh, the tanks. When he said the word tank, where has Donald Trump used tanks? Where has Donald Trump used any military force in a city that he can't do it by law? He can't even do it. But the news media, Operation Mockingbird, will tell you. They make it seem like Los Angeles has troops just all over the place. That's not true. If you're equating ICE and Border Patrol as troops, and they're federal officers, but they're not military. They're not troops. The National Guard that is being used to guard federal property because federal property was attacked and vandalized. That's in the newspapers. Go look it up. The National Guard is not patrolling streets. Because by law, Donald Trump cannot do that. We are the United States. He only has jurisdiction over federal. He cannot go and just take over a municipality. He can't do it. It would be shut down immediately. Oh, but he just took over Washington, D.C. I know you're watching TV, Donovan. Didn't you see he took over what? Washington, D.C. is federal. But they have a mayor. See, so you don't even know what you're talking about. Because you have American citizens that live in the D.C. area, and he could expel them if he wanted to. But they live in the D.C. area, and they need representation. Washington, D.C. is controlled by Congress, meaning the Speaker of the House controls the D.C. police and the D.C. area. So, if Congress controls the D.C. police and the D.C. area, when what is that? January 6th happened? Why did all the blame for not bringing the troops fall on Donald Trump? Wouldn't that mean it was Nancy Pelosi's job to call in the troops when all of those people were storming the Capitol? But yet we blame Donald Trump. All you people now that have researched federal government of Washington, D.C. and who controls it, why aren't we asking, well, why did they tell us that it was Donald Trump's job to call the troops when it was Nancy Pelosi's job to call the troops? A Democrat was in control of Congress. So why wasn't Nancy Pelosi called into question? But they put it all on Donald Trump. And don't get me wrong, the overall commander-in-chief, he could do that. But Nancy Pelosi could have done it too. And she didn't. Interesting. So when you got citizens in a federal jurisdiction, they need representation. That is why they were allowed a mayor and a city council type situation, because they're in a limbo area. So let's talk about the Virgin Islands, right? The U.S. Virgin Islands. Do they have a representative in Congress? Those are American citizens, right? American territory, right? Federal territory. It's its own country and culture, but it's American property, right? Do they have a representative that comes to Congress? Yes, they do. Can that representative vote? No, they can't. Puerto Rico, its own country, its own culture. Do they have a representative that represents all of those people from Puerto Rico? Yes, they do. Are Puerto Ricans American citizens? Yes, they are. Can that representative that goes to Congress vote? No, they can't. Guam, all the way out into the Pacific Ocean. American territory. All of those American citizens, they need representation. Can that representative from Guam vote? No, they can't. Every American citizen is entitled to representation. That's why it was set up that way. But you keep the people in fear. Yeah. Then okay, Anita says, then why was the governor so upset? Because the governor is upset. Now, which governor? You talking about the governor in Maryland or the one here in California? Either way it goes, they're both Democrats. It's political theater. Are you entertained? Are you entertained? Are you entertained? Why don't you guys ask yourself this? When you live in a Democratic controlled area, Why is it that they can't seem to solve the crime infested area, and you and your people suffer generation after generation after generation? The Democrats can't seem to solve it. Donald Trump just gave you a blueprint of what to do. Now, Donald Trump can't call in the troops in a city, but the governors can. Ask yourself that. Well, if Donald Trump reduced crime by 80% in Washington, D.C., which he can do because it's federal, well, then why aren't these governors doing that in neighborhoods in Detroit, Chicago, and all over the place? Why wouldn't they want to do that? You want to know why they wouldn't want to do that? Because it interferes with gentrification. Part of the Democratic scheme is to keep you in fear, keep you dependent on the government so you don't live up to your full potential, and to gentrify your area. They're going to keep it violent and drug infested to where the property value goes down so that these developers could come in. Gentrification takes about 30 years. LA, California was the blueprint. The movie Boys in the Hood, Furious talked about that. Boys in the Hood came out, what, 1989? 91, something like that? Remember, he was talking to Trey and, what's his name? Morris Chestnut. He was saying gentrification, keep everything black, blah, 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 blah. He was explaining what actually happens. Now look at LA now. Look at New York. Harlem. Gentrification. These are Democratic controlled areas. Look at Oakland. Bombed out now. Completely wiped out because of the crime that they just allowed to happen. All the blacks left. A lot of black people left. California, black people just fled here. They just left. Now the developers could go there, get the land for pennies on the dollar, redevelop it, and make money on top of money. That's Democratic playbook. So where are these poor black people supposed to go? A lot of them went to Houston. They can't go to Atlanta. That's a wrap there. But the governors could solve this problem. Donald Trump just showed you. He can't do it. He can't call in the troops. He can't federalize troops against American citizens. He can't do that. This mayor knows that. But he's going to say what he's going to say to keep you in fear. As long as you're afraid, you're not going to think. You're going to be emotional. The governor of Cali. Okay, when the National Guard was sent in Cali. No, see, the thing is, again, Anita, a lot of people, the news misconstrues everything. Donald Trump nationalized, which he could do, he nationalized the National Guard to protect federal property. The National Guard is not walking around all over LA. They're guarding federal buildings. You know, buildings like the Social Security office, the the military stations. Social Security office would be a big one. A customs building, whatever they do, whatever federal building, but a good example of a federal building would be Social Security office. So that's what they're protecting. Yeah, a lot of blacks ran to Arizona. New Mexico is now being built up. It's crazy. It's crazy. But again, don't just listen to what I'm saying. Research what I'm saying. Read the Communist Manifesto. This is exactly what you do when you want to grab power. Notice he said an executive order. He even said he did not go to his city council. You're going to bypass the city council and do it by executive order. Because you know what? His city council would have been like, no, we're not going to do that. But this is what the Democrats do. The last election. I don't care if you voted for her or not. They told you who to vote for. This is your nominee. Vote for it. Do you guys that still support Kamala Harris, and God bless you if you do, she cannot win a primary. She is not going to be the president in 2028. She is a terrible candidate. Even if the Democrats had set up a primary, she would have crumbled. She would have crumbled. This is why they keep calling Donald Trump a dictator, but all I see is dictation from the Democratic Party. So you're going to fight a dictator using the same exact tactics. So why is it okay for you to do it, but it's not okay for him to do it? And again, I go back to 9/11. Both parties voted for the Patriot Act. Both parties voted to go to war against Iraq. That had nothing to do with 9/11. They didn't read the reports. Fear. They went off their emotions. But mostly fear. They didn't get all the facts. They never read it. They didn't understand what was in. It was this thick. It was a thick book. And even after it was explained what they voted for, not one of them has yet to offer to repeal it. Are you entertained? Are you? So anyway, you guys, I just wanted to get on here and talk about that real quick. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the old video, if it's still up, splice it with this video, and get this out there on YouTube. Anita, I have less than 20 days before I head back to the Dominican Republic. Looking forward to it. I'll be gone a week, and I'll be back. Then I go back for Super Bowl. I don't know if my Dallas Cowboys are going to be there now that they did this bonehead thing with, what's his name? Micah Parsons. It's crazy, you guys. This is some crazy times we're living in. People are voting against their own interests and then get mad about it. Those women are mad that they lost their jobs, but they don't realize they advocated for themselves losing their jobs. And I tried to explain that to them. I said, you do realize you advocated to lose your job, because how else are they going to make up the shortfall? They have to either cut city services or raise taxes. You can't raise too many more taxes here in California. We're at the brink. We're past the brink. The Democrats prioritized illegal migrants over their own citizens. And like I said, and I asked myself, why are all these Democrats across the country all for illegal immigration? And it dawned on me, the census. The more people you have, the more congressional seats you get, and the more federal dollars you get, because the census isn't based on citizenship. And what's stupid about the Democratic Party is when you let these people from other countries come into the United States, half of them are going to be Republican because they come in with an entrepreneurial spirit. They don't want their businesses being taxed. They're business-minded, entrepreneurial-minded. Half of them become Republicans. That's why I will vote for Donald Trump. I will vote for Donald Trump. They think they're white adjacent. That's what this is about. The Democrats thought they were going to have unlimited power, just opening the floodgates. And then ask yourself this. This is another reason why I couldn't understand black people supporting Kamala Harris. Number one, she isn't a black woman, so stop telling me that. She's not a black woman. Number two, she told you in your face, I'm not going to do anything specifically for black people. That didn't make sense. Number three, She was the border czar. That was her primary job as vice president. And she failed miserably. Immigration hurts black people in the United States because the system, we're at the bottom of it. You go to any country, whoever's at the bottom, illegal immigration hurts that group. And in America, we're that bottom group. Yeah, we don't have glamorous jobs, but those are the jobs we get, right? Garbage man was one, right? And you got to think about automation is coming. Another reason I believe that they're kicking all these women, black, white, whatever, out of the workforce is because of AI. They don't need you guys now. And for us, good job, black women. Not only did you get rid of your man, you just lost your job because of the bullshit that you believed. Now, you're on your own. What man is going to come into your life and your house is in foreclosure? You got all this debt. Men are always going to need women. Nah, you can buy pussy. You can buy pussy. OnlyFans. You got girls out here selling pussy everywhere. Everywhere. That's how bad it's getting. And you guys know what I'm saying is true. It's true. These younger girls, because there are no jobs out there, you know, worth the lifestyle that they want to live, they're selling pussy. All men need is a release every now and then. We don't really need a relationship. We got our boys to hang out with. We're doing our thing. We can go overseas, get us a traditional woman if we want to. It's sad. So anyway, you guys, I just wanted to share that with you. And don't let fear drive your thinking process. Read the Communist Manifesto. You keep the people in fear, they'll willingly give up their rights, which we constantly do. And then once you give those rights up, you'll never get them back. Never get them back. Donovan Sadiq. Something to think about.